Yeah, you might have
back.
to.
All right.
You might have
Hello.
to be back. Yeah. Hey. We're in the same room together, which means we're two separate people. Surprise. Do you want to get the smaller chair?
No,
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Do you want the smaller chair?
Hello. Chuck is getting a smaller chair for me.
Smaller chair.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Cool. Hold on. Okay. All right. So, hello. We're here. We're two separate. Yeah, we're two separate people. Watch. It's like they're like in a green suit, and it's like it's really just me twice. So yeah, we're in the same room. Yes. So we're gonna try and not get distracted by the the crazy no glasses Mason.
Yeah, I'm I've worn glasses for a couple decades. I'm getting off topic already, so I just figured I'd take a couple days off to try to see if I could get rid of that like glasses dent. Where it's an experiment.
The dent. Experiment.
I can't see anything that's happening right now.
Experiment, more like experiment.
Yeah. All right. So,
so with that being said,
let's get back on topic. Chuck, why did you? What were you thinking?
So, what was I thinking?
Why did you make this?
So basically, I don't know. Like, let's go back. We're gonna go back to the release of Hylix 2. Okay, so Hylix 2 comes out, and we're Hylicord is in full swing. Everybody is having a great time. The game is going nuts. Everybody is going nuts who's playing the game, and I'm going nuts trying to, make sense of everything that's going on. And yet I felt this immense pull to make more music for the game. Like I just felt like there was something like deep within me that was like, I gotta make more music. And I sort of meditated on that and thought, well, what music is missing? And I was like, oh, okay, character themes. Because, like me being like, traditionally, little young gamer in the 90s, it was like Final Fantasy VII is the one game that I think of. So you got like Cloud's theme and Barrett's theme and Tifa's theme and all these great themes. And I was like, well, Wayne doesn't have a theme. Samsnosa doesn't have a theme. So maybe I'll just write like more traditional, like point A to point B pieces that are not meant to repeat on loop for these characters. And I hit you up, Mason, like right away, like before I even started work on it. And I was like, I'm thinking about doing this. And, in traditional, Mason Lindroth answering your question fashion, you were like, I will allow this. and it was cool. It was greenlit and I started the work.
Yeah, that was back like last fall, I think.
No, it was like July.
Really?
It was the game, because the game came out on the 22nd, and I started in either July or August, and I finished in the fall. And I started
of last year,
and I started teasing it using this campaign of I mean what? It was just I mean ... what ? And it just turned into this like meme where every time I said I mean what, like I get, because Hylicord was so huge, I get like 40 like eye like side eye emojis or like eyes like losing their minds emojis or whatever, and it just became this thing where I was you want me to fix that? Yeah, it's better now. So it became this thing where I started teasing the pieces little by little, and not teasing anything like big about it, just certain sections, not revealing like the real big moments of the pieces. And people seem to really be gripped by it. And then this thing turned into like, oh, is it DLC? Like we're gonna get Hylix 2 DLC. There, I wonder what I wonder what's going to be. I wonder what is going to happen, what stories are going to be told. And so Mason and I were like, kind of freaking out because like there was no DLC. Like there was there was a possibility. Like we were talking like, do we want to do this? Do we want to not do this? How are we gonna present this? And it turned into this. Well, why don't we release recently? Like within the last month, we were like, why don't we release it as the band, the gang in Hilux, like it's their album. And so it's a concept album. What you're listening to is the band that the group of heroes forms at the end of both games. That's their band playing that show. That's like you're in the audience of like all the different weird shapes moving around. Like you are that audience experiencing that show. So if you haven't heard the EP, I'm sure most of you have. If you haven't heard it, it's in the description. We're going to go through it. And we're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to talk about like primarily, I guess like, I don't know, the theory, I guess, like not like super boring stuff, but like a lot of people seem to be really interested in the leitmotifs and what they mean. So what we're going to do is discuss some more stuff in depth.
I'll be talking a little bit of the sounds I made, how I made those sounds.
Well,
possibly what I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, you asked me a question. So my question for you is this: like before we even get started, what did you think of the whole experience? Like the whole from start to finish. Like you were pretty removed, like until a couple of weeks ago. How was your experience?
I mean, good in the end. Chuck's more of a trained musician. Well, last week we were doing the recording, it turned out well. It was a little stressful, not like worrisomely stressful, but just do like live recording and play through things in one take. Well, not in one take, but in a continuous take. Because my usual strategy is to get very collage-y with things. Like I'll do a take, and I'll grab all the parts I like from that, save them, and then like splice in some other sounds, and then patch things together with some little sound effects, which, when it works, it's good, but it can also be a really digressive technique that ends up producing like a incoherent mulch.
Mulch.
So it was good to it was good to get a different music experience.
Yeah, my thing, if anyone's ever watched my stream or if anyone's ever listened to my music, I will record like a 15-second segment, or I'll record like the chords to an entire section, and when I get that chord progression down before the repeat of that chord progression, I'll get that perfect, splice it together and whatnot. But like, I'm such a savage in the studio because I'll be like, yeah, that was like Mason and I, like we hang and like we're cool, like we're buds, but like, like it would be the same thing if I went over to Mason's house and he was like, yeah, we're gonna do art, we're gonna do visual art, and like me like fucking up or like being the worst, and he'd be like, yeah, okay, so whatever you're doing, that's cool, but like you got to do it like this. And I'm again like very very savage to a person that is not used to it. He would record something, he's like, yeah, I like that. I'm like, yeah, I deleted it already. Like it's gone and it's not coming back. I can't undo that delete. And he's like, but I like that one bar that I put. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's not. Just do it again. It'll be fine. And for real, that type of technique, it works. Especially if you back it up with positivity and summoning out the best in not just a client, but like a person who you're making a piece of music with. I've been on that side too, where like I would be in the vocal booth, and Nick would be recording my voice on his songs, and he had a very specific vision, and he'd be like, yeah, don't do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's that, but it's like what we got was, I mean, Samsnosa is really singing in As Your Memory. Like that's really her. Like I feel like we captured that moment. The electronic birds, the bird sounds in La Danse du Gobelet en Paupière. Like we got that like perfect. And I'm so grateful for your playing. Like I had so much fun, and I think your playing is like so inventive, and like, you know, to a person that is not looking for that, they'd be like, this is ridiculous, this is preposterous noise, like what is this? And it's like, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like that's what we needed. That's what the world the world is built upon sonically. And of course, like, you know, having my sound be welcomed into the community again for this expansion it's been a delight. It's been a pleasure, like one of the pleasures of my life to write this music and have it be so well received. I've received so many emails from so many different fans. And everybody has said, you know, we love this thing. It's great. So mission accomplished by the both of us. I think that, you know, it's great. I'll have to go back and read through all these comments. We put it on slow mode, but it's like it doesn't matter. just like going up like crazy. So I guess we should get into the first piece.
Okay.
So we're gonna do it in a way. So we're gonna rely on the chat to. We're going to rely on the chat to tell us whether or not something is like way too loud or not. Okay. Wow, dude, this is crazy. So I shared this stuff with you, correct? Yes. Oh, I think I made a Moonage Lobotomy EP. Okay, got it. Yeah, I made like a folder for it. Okay, so we're gonna start with an endless cycle. This is Wayne's theme. All right, so do we want to go really quick, like super fast, what the song means to you and what the song means to me? Like now that you've listened to it and you've sat with it, you've performed on it, like we'll just go through like quick description of or how we're feeling, I guess. Like is that something that you want to do?
We could do that.
Okay, cool. So you go first.
Okay. Well, it's the Wayne track, and my part of it, especially. I think I was thinking about like in Hylex 2, there's this kind of like insectoid or like this creature aspect to Wayne. You know, there's like old Wayne who is like this weird, you know, creature, and you know, and then these like pods and eggs hatching more Waynes, you know, and they're crawling out of the afterlife. So I was trying to get some of that like weird inhuman experience in there with the sounds. I used most of the sound is like a it's an effect called the ZVEX Fuzz Factory, which is it's a fuzz effect, kind of a feedback effect with how to describe it. It's got like I will just describe it like what it is. It's got 5 knobs and they each interact with each other kind of simultaneously. Like on a typical fuzz, you know, you have like the fuzz dial. But on this, like they're all of the dials are the fuzz dial, and yeah, so it like gets out of control and makes these squelching, squealing noises. Because it has this feedback aspect to it, it has a kind of delayed sound. Like you'll play something, and then like the feedback builds up in this effect, and it starts like, you know, after a second or two, it starts like squealing. So as it kind of makes me think like a separate entity, you know, it's got a mind of its own kind of thing. So I thought that was appropriate for the idea I was going for.
It's definitely got this. It initially when we were discussing what we wanted to go in your section, and like so to keep it really to keep it really methodical and programmatic. I gave Mason all the second verses, so his verse is echoing my first verse melodically. And then of course there's like additional sound effects that are layered in to like throughout all of the pieces to make it sound even more robust. But we had been talking about getting like the theremin, like the like as like a conversation almost happening in there. But I think we definitely we made the better decision to not do that. Not that it would have been bad.
Yeah,
but
I try to insulate
factory,
myself to some extent from like all the fan art, which is it's awesome, but I don't want it to like. I don't want to be like having like a feedback loop of like, making the next game like based on the fan art, because that I don't think would be what ultimately people would want. Well, at least not like totally. No, some influence is good. But for the Wind Tribe, we've been watching these like parody videos of movie scenes. Redubbed from Hilux sound effects. So it'd be like a scene from a movie.
S is for sprinkles.
But
if he's in here or happy,
all the voices and things would be like that Hilux like sound
with incredible like sound effects. Like there's the whole Matrix like fight scene.
That was the original plan for my efforts on the Wayne track. Would be some like scenario playing out with new sound effects, but that
and so like we thought about doing that, and instead we went with something a little more chaotic. And I'll just give like my visual interpretation of it. So to me, when I was talking with Mason about who Wayne is, I was like, well, who is Wayne? What is Wayne? And I started bouncing off my ideas, and he was just like saying like, yeah, that checks out. That makes perfect sense. That's a good interpretation. I studied a lot of what the fans were talking about, but tried to come to my own conclusions. Are you just gonna like say something?
Well, I just feel bad about this. But Marcus, who keeps asking how the sound effects are made.
The
sound is a theremin being played into a like a dynamic wah, like a wah that'll react to
an auto wah.
Auto wah.
Those are and the auto wah that you use is native to GarageBand.
It's just a software.
Some of this stuff I gotta say. I also like this record, before I get into the visual representation or the visual aspect of what I was thinking about when I made the Wayne track. This record specifically really helped me feel like, okay, I can move on to the next thing. I feel comfortable, and I feel like I have like a voice now. Specifically, as like a composer. I had the 10 tracks in Hilux 2, and I've been writing music for years, but I haven't been writing music as like a video game composer. So it's a completely different approach, because almost always it's instrumental. If you do have lyrics or whatever, like it's sung by a massive choir, or maybe it's just sung on a vowel or whatever. It's atmospheric. And so when I composed these pieces, I finished it. I started teasing it on October 20th, and October 30th, the project for my game with a brand new development team launched. That was the date of inception. I had a meeting with a couple of folks that that are probably in here, Hexman, Spectra, Amphibizzy, and my brother Joe. We had our meetings, and we started the process of the game. But I would not have been able to compose that music for that game without leveling up with this music. Like, this music had to happen for me to feel like I could make something even better for you all to experience. And it's separate from Hylix, yes, but like in the universe, in like the Chuck and Mason universe of like, this is how we take over the indie gaming world, if you will. Like this is how we conquer all, or whatever, or at least influence in a positive way, and bring you all quality experiences and quality content. This had to happen first. So I'm really grateful to this project as well, the whole experience, and for Mason giving me the opportunity to do it, to even green light it. He could have very well said, no, I don't feel like doing that. No, I don't think you should worry about that. I think we should worry about the next thing. But we love the fans, and y'all deserve it. You're also great, and we wanted to give you something special. So Wayne, to me, that opening sequence, so there's 3 chords. You've got the first chord and the second chord, which is shorter, and the third chord. I'll point out the third chord. The third chord is the Weezer chord. That's the joke that everyone wanted, because I'm secretly it's an open secret that I'm a Weezer fan, and apparently that's hilarious. And sort of like, I guess it dates me, like it ages me tremendously. Like Chuck likes Weezer, like what an old out of touch individual. But that's the Weezer chord. I put it in there. It fits really well. I picture Wayne opening his eyes. Seemingly, he's in his room at the beginning of the game. He knows that he's going to go out and die again and again and again. And it's this really kind of like, he's experiencing this look of apathy. He's like, like the whole process of him, like getting dressed, getting his gear, going out. It's just like he's going to work. It's like his work theme song. And at the end, we have these big heavy moments where like those are probably battle scenes. In my mind, there's a maybe like like the Mason section where it's a little bit more insect like, some visuals of like the Wayne larva like evolving, and they're all experiencing it because like maybe like I think we have the understanding that Wayne is hive mind. Like they're all Wayne, and they're possibly I don't know, like that Wayne, yeah, like they're all experiencing the same thing together simultaneously or whatever. And Wayne doesn't care if he becomes old Wayne or not. Like the Wayne that you're following in this song, he doesn't care. The guitar solo, visual aspect of that for me is like on stage, flashing lights, totally opulent solo, 80s, total glam, like, and then there's like this big blow up that happens, maybe it's a slow motion section with the band. There's this really pretty section where it's just drums and bass and clean guitar. And I imagine that being like Wayne, like sort of like picking himself up off the ground after being like getting his like ass kicked by like a galliform or something, or like
I knew it was going to be the galliform,
or like, yeah, or like
I don't know,
or like 5 tyros just like trampling his ass or whatever.
I guess because the galliform is like that's like the you went to the wrong area
like first. Yeah. That's totally what happened. It was like, why are these big ass emus kicking my ass? And like in version 2, and Mason's like, you're not supposed to go there yet. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's my bad. But like, maybe he's on the ground, he's like bloodied a little bit from battle, and like you see all the hands of his friends. They lay their hands on him and say like, it's cool, like we're gonna get through this, we're gonna get you healed. And then it explodes into this beautiful like major melodic section, only to return to the very beginning because he's stuck in an endless cycle. So we're gonna listen to it. Y'all can enjoy it, make some comments, say like, oh, this is my, like you could say, make some comments, whatever. We're just gonna listen through to it and see what happens. I have to turn my speakers on. dust in the pots. And also let me know if it's too loud. Rosenthal Bros, we used GarageBand for this. This was actually still composed on the phone. I'll talk about that. This theme is brand new. It's brand new to Wayne. I wanted to give Wayne something more than just a motif that was in the game. So you can think of Wayne as like having like he's completely individual. This bass section coming up, where it's just the bass and like a little bit of like fan picking in the background. I was really inspired by Danny Elfman's score from Men in Black, which is also a movie about insects. If you watch it. This theme in the background is like it's the Hylix motif. It's a little bit of like Xeno Arcadia.
I'm laughing at this,
First chord,
comment.
second chord, Weezer chord, right there. Go ahead.
I'm laughing at someone saying we got to do like an April Fool's album for the like the B-side.
Oh, like Otis here and like
some of the characters who were cut from the game.
Cream, Instar, yeah, that'd be really funny.
Yeah.
Hylix movie when? Shit. Call Netflix. No, don't call Netflix. Don't do that. Here comes Mason. This is the Euro after Mustang. That right there is so good. This right here. Great. Also, that's Mason in the background on an emo. He's playing that. He's playing that like little Hylix melodic motif. And it's like totally detached from everything. I like this screech too. Wait, what do we call it? Here's the opulent solo. This is like the Danny Elfman section. Samsnosa just wailing. And that part at the back is like, that's a big stick. That this is like presumably a big battle they're going through. And this section coming up is a really pretty section where like the team is picking weight up after. Thanks. It's from Target. And we're back in the endless cycle. And now there's like mason insect noises because as Wayne propagates throughout this endless cycle, it's becoming more and more of it's becoming more and more of a fucking problem. It's like, look at all the Waynes on his front yard, dude. Like, look at all those motherfuckers. Like no one's gonna know. Like, what do you do? You know, like you're stuck in this cycle, and there's an entire army of Waynes doing kung fu and practicing rolling on your front yard. It's crazy, and there's only one old Wayne, so it's like, what's the prerequisite? Can there only be one old Wayne?
Yes. There can only be one.
Okay. Answers the question.
It's canon now.
Yeah.
Let me write that down.
Yeah. Okay, so questions about the vinyl that I've seen a lot of. We're like narrowing down the companies that we want to align with for doing the pressing, because some of this stuff is like crazy expensive, and in addition to that, like, you know, it's like a carbon footprint thing that we've talked about. Like we want to make sure that whoever is doing this is doing it right. And, you know, like it's because, you know, we actually give a shit about this stuff. Not just vinyl pressing, but also cassette tapes. That is going to be happening. We're hoping to get all of this stuff situated. I mean, I think we got to get it situated in the next month and a half if we want to roll it out for the holidays, which is something that I'm envisioning happening. Keep a lookout for, I think we talked about it. I mean, this don't quote us here, but this is something that we're toying with, the idea of launching like some type of Indiegogo campaign where we launch it so that we can have an infrastructure for pre-orders. And that way people can pre-order the item. It's there. We know who ordered it. And we can just like get the thing made and get it sent out. Instead of it being like a GoFundMe, where GoFundMe is like a, you know, for lack of a better word, it's like I don't have any money to do this. Indiegogo is like, we are doing this thing, we're ready to go, but we want to get pre-orders taken care of.
Someone's asking if are we answering Hylix lore questions? If we do, it's only accidentally.
Yeah.
We're trying to talk about the music.
I mean, hopefully we'll be talking about Hylix lore in the process of exploring this music. So.
Take any statements I make about the lore with a grain of salt, because that's in a formative stage at the moment.
Yes.
So
formative.
Yeah.
So, Kaiser, take my money. Yep. Okay. So for those of you that there are a few, like, you know, there are more than a few. All of you are such like incredible, dedicated fans, and there are a few of you who have made very good review videos. And Kaiser Pudu being one of them. Go check out his review of Hylix 2. It's very, very awesome. Super thorough. I really enjoyed that review. I watch it. I would be lying if I said I didn't watch it a few times. It's really great. He's a very thorough individual, and you should check out his reviews for other games too. He's totally awesome. Yeah, you can probably Kaiser, you can post the link in the comments section.
Someone's asking, this stream will probably be archived as long as we don't. As long as we don't embarrass ourselves too.
Yeah, it'll be archived. Hour. Yeah, it'll be archived. Yeah, we're not. I mean, like, how could I possibly embarrass you, Mason?
I don't know, Chuck. I guess we'll find out.
More after these messages.
So pondering if I should make a review because I have a lot to say. Mac, make a review, dude. Like, why not?
Nitro Rat introduced it. Yeah. Okay. So if Nitro Rat is in here, he might have like a dummy account. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But James Nitro Rat, we love you so much, man. You are like, just like what a fantastic review. He did 2 reviews. He did the initial review of the game, loved it, and then he awarded us with his best game for 2020, which is like be still my heart. Like we were so stoked. And Vinny Vinesauce, we know that he really loves the games, and I'm hoping that if he's out there and he views this, if you're viewing this later after the fact, or if you've listened to the music, hope you enjoyed it, as I hope everybody else enjoyed it. These are like, I don't know, man, like I wasn't a part of this culture, like watching these streamers and watching these big YouTubers and Vinny and James Nitro Rad. Like I wasn't a part of that, and I was introduced to it by all of these kids, and I was like, wow, like why do people like these people so much? And it's because their personalities are like infectious, completely infectious. Like I watch Nitro Rad stuff all the time now. He's a great reviewer, like. Really, really good dude as well. Like he's just genuinely passionate. Like he played through all the Frogger games, like all the PlayStation 2 Frogger games that are like total garbage. He played through all the Jimmy Neutron games. It's great. He's awesome. He's a good dude.
My only lore question is, why is there so much Wayne products? The duck, the airplane, toothpaste.
I don't know. Must be remnants of previous cycles of Wayne proliferation, and now there are just these mysterious occasional ducks. I think the duck actually, like Gibby keeps the duck, spoiler, because that's like he's like that's the level of like, that's like a non-threatening Wayne. So like he'll allow Wayne Duck to survive. All the other Waynes have to go, though.
But yeah, Wayne Plane was really interesting.
Yeah, Wayne Plane. I think I was working on that when we were at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was working on like the final scene for the game. So like during like the 5 years of production, part of the plan had been like, okay, I'll like release the game, and then I can go on a big summer vacation. And, so some of that, like, I don't know, travel. I don't travel, but that travel fantasy went into this Wayne Plane.
If I can't go in real life, maybe Wayne can go on his Wayne Plane.
After the next game, then I can rent the beach house and just, retire for a few months.
Yeah. We'll just fuck off to some beach somewhere. Yeah, it's like. That's the plan. So the next track, and it should be known that this is where the leitmotifs start to get really crazy. The next track is Azure Memory. It's the Samsnosa track. So I'm gonna say a couple of things about it beforehand that it means to me, and then Mason, you can say the things that you want to say. I think this piece, I really wanted it to be like more evocative. Like they all have their own, it makes you think about X, Y, or Z. But like Samsnosa is such an interesting character. Wayne, we know now from the second game that there are many Waynes, but there's only one Samsnosa. And she's actually the character that everybody met first, because she had her own little kind of like walking simulator game early on when Mason was developing it. It's like you can't play it now.
Well,
there are some diehard fans that have it. Yeah, but it is. I mean,
but yeah, it's like a prototype for Alex.
So Samsnosa, there's only one. and she's just got this vibe. And again, I was really looking at what the fans were saying. People are really taken with this character. And me, I mean, you can't see it, but I'm like, I've got my little Ellen Ripley here, and you know, like I'm a sucker for female protagonists. I think the female protagonist is one of the greatest. You know, it's just one of the greatest things that any author can implement in their writing. And so I wanted to give Samsnosa a really strong theme. I wanted to give her a theme that was filled with mystery. So you'll hear a lot of the leitmotifs that are being used are the mysterious leitmotifs. Her melody is in alignment with that little jingle that you hear in the beginning of the Look Ma, I Fly Now when you get to the Hylam Xylem in Hylix 2. That's her melody, that slidey melody in the main right before the verse. There's also what else is there? I think she gets like a bass line from That's a Big Stick. So she's like that's the strength aspect. She also, her melody and her chorus is from That's a Big Stick. That that's literally from Big Stick. And then at the end, she's that that is from Mystic Cryptic, which is a big mystery theme. I also wanted to I wrote it in a way that was and I was trying to explain this to the dev team the other night. I didn't want to write it in a way that portrays her in a demeaning way. Like I wanted to because you know, of course, like you've got a lot of art out there where, you know, people are portraying characters in a specific way. I wanted to and this is why I'm using these words carefully. I wanted there to be a strong sense of like feminine power in the song. Like that's what I was thinking about when I went into writing the song. I wanted it to be very, very like this is Samsnosa. This is why she is who she is. I wanted it to be a very individual piece. They all are very individual from each other, but if I'm being honest, this piece for a while was my absolute favorite piece out of all of them. I felt like I had to play with a lot of passion, and I had to play with a lot of intention to get what I needed out of the track. And I hope that you all felt that as well. What did it mean to you? This has the one instrument on it. The reason why this took so long is because Mason was waiting for this theremin.
Yeah, I think last fall.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was waiting on the theremin. The classic like Moog theremin has a like the ether wave has a pretty like raw sound. It's cool, but you know, if you're just playing it straight, it's a little bit like a kazoo. So I was waiting for their updated model this year, but then it was delayed like
because of
another year.
Yeah.
I had been checking that like the stock on those for far too long, and I noticed one was for sale. But it gives a much like smoother sound, more bass range, and like it doesn't break up in the bass range quite as much.
It's a great instrument.
I'm a fan. It's good. I think I'm on board with more how can I put it? There are plans for more Samsnosa lore, I think.
Definitely.
I'm gonna keep saying the next game, so I don't like I don't want to jinx it, you know. But we're working on a next game of some type, but I'm doing a lot more planning beforehand, trying to get some like somewhat coherent plot, and like a nucleus of a like, plot outline, and then possibly bringing some additional writers on board to give it that next level.
There is stuff happening on a daily basis. Like this is in addition to like Mason doing you went through this period not that long ago, like 4 months ago. You were texting me like, I can't hang out because I'm working on like figure drawing, or like I'm studying anatomy drawing, because I really think it's gonna be beneficial. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's cool, because I'm working on this OST for this other game, or I'm mixing and mastering this music that we're listening to tonight. It's just like literally every week Mason and I will do a meeting where something new develops for the next thing. And we've been toying with this idea of well, why not? And take this with a grain of salt, but burnout on a project happens. So we have a burnout project where it's we don't want to work on this thing this week, so we're gonna work on this. This other thing.
That's a great strategy to have two projects going, so you can always be working, but always be procrastinating.
It's
at the same time.
It really and we're there's some jest to that, but also for real, if you crash and you don't have another thing to focus on, then you're crashed. There's nothing, so it's just one of those things where we talked about the idea of having two games that were completely different from each other, a completely different style of game as well. So with any luck and with hard work, hopefully we'll put out two things that are close to each other. Although the one burnout project that we're talking about, that'll always be sitting in the back seat. So it depends on how burnt out we get on one thing, until we get burnt out on the other thing. And also there are other developments happening in the wings that we're not at liberty to discuss, but there are some really fun, swanky, interesting things that are happening, more on Mason's end. And he's graciously, saying, hey, Chuck, we're going for a ride. Hop in, which is always fun. So Samsnosa's theme, leitmotifs of mystery. We're going to listen through it, and we'll take some comments, and then we'll move to the next track. Azure, I guess. Blooms those chords, gives it more of a synth effect. For that, I'm using the EHX Grand Canyon delay and looper module. Yeah, dude, people are already calling it really lost. That's exactly what I wanted. Here's her the Highlands Island Jewel theme. Oh, and also, Mason totally is responsible for me writing down-tempo music. I would never write anything this slow, 3 years ago. I would never do anything like that. He totally changed my mind. Dust in the pots. Or someone said it's too loud. I couldn't hear you. So this is like a new motif. This is the Samsnosa, maybe she's she's woeful, man. She's the only one. We don't know how old she is either. No idea how long she's been alone for. So Here comes that theme from Big Stick. Look at all the comments and people are using their minds. Like, this shit's great. I love it. What is it?
Just saying, every time Psalms eats a bug, her lifespan increases another year.
Okay, so this is Samsnosa singing. And this was basically done in one take. Samsnosa like crab Samsnosa. Dude, crab.
The lyrics are whale, yes.
The lyrics are well. Lucille got it. This part right here. It's like perfect. I'll never play that well again. I screamed. That was busy, dude. Wait, hold on. Notable comments during that whole thing.
Let's see.
Every time Samsnosa eats a bug,
Yeah,
she gains 1 year on her
of life.
life.
Yeah. And
So
then
much.
they're asking when the Wayne Duck theme is coming. April 1st, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
the release date for that.
I'll have my daughter say Wayne Duck, and then I'll just sample that. No,
Yeah.
I won't. No, I will not do that. I'm not gonna do that to her. Did Wayne meet Samsnosa when she was singing and caring for a juice beast? In the first game or the second game?
No, they're speculating.
Maybe.
No, I think that's like a Nah.
I mean, it's fine.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah,
But it's I got a different plan. Actually, I was, the games could use a prologue. So,
Yeah. Hilux
we
prologue
need some
confirmed.
flashbacks.
Hilux prequel confirmed. Holy shit.
Sort out some of those questions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still time. Maybe I could write that in. Let me write that down.
There's a plan. Just people, everybody just like, oh man, that's so far back. That's like, that's like the full ends, like the whole shit. It's like, yeah. So for this, also it should be said, that was more of a melodic take, during the Samsnosa verse, which is Mason's verse. At the end, there's like this really like sorrowful, like, which Amphibizzy Lucille jokingly called whale noises. Now, this is not far off. I actually showed Mason some techniques that I was looking for in the recording. I was like, have you ever heard of something called Sprechstimme? Sprechstimme literally means like speak singing, or like the delivery of speech through voice. If you don't know what that is, you can listen to one of the most famous Sprechstimme pieces around. It's called Piero Lunaire, and it's a piece by Arnold Schoenberg. It's like, it induces insanity. It's crazy. I wouldn't recommend it to like, a layman listener of music. It's very highbrow, and like, I sound like I'm gatekeeping Schoenberg, but it's like, I'm warning you, it's not enjoyable.
It's not Verdi.
It's not like beautiful. It's scary, and sort of like Bjork does some Sprechstimme, but this is like OG Sprechstimme. This is crazy. Piero is a character that basically gets really drunk on absinthe and goes out and like trips for an entire night, and the whole piece of music is just like Piero tripping, and that's it. And so what I wanted Mason to do was try and get that Sprechstimme feel in the theremin for that ending part before we go into that mystic cryptic theme, because there was a time when I recorded Mystic Cryptic, the original recordings. Do you remember that? It was like too scary.
Oh yeah. It was it was a little bit like
it was fucked up. Like I wrote.
Yeah, it was like a scary dungeon theme. I thought it was a little bit like Diablo 2.
So the reason why I did that is you sent me the footage that you sent me of that dungeon. It was black, orange, and red, and those colors affected how I made it
claustrophobic.
And you were like,
dark.
No, I changed the color scheme. It looks like this now, and it became purple and white and black. And I was like, this is different. And Mason was like, I need something more like bathed in wonder. I think he said, or like it's more wondrous and less scary. And so I thought, well, maybe we'll get another shot at that vibe. Not necessarily like, everything else happening around it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was a cool track.
It was definitely cool. It was just not, the original track for Mr. Cryptic.
Yeah, I guess someday we'll have to do the extended album with all
with all the bullshit beat takes. Do you have it, or did I instruct you?
Yeah, I have that. I think
I instructed
I have
you
that.
to
I have
delete
those.
it,
I have some tracks that Chuck did, like the first tracks that Chuck did.
Oh,
I shouldn't even mention it because he doesn't want me to release.
Yeah, they're real. They're real.
This was
bad.
like 2 years before he did the main recording.
This was 2017.
Yeah.
This was summer 2017.
Yeah.
And I went in, and Mason was like hard at work on Hilux 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I just want to come over. Like, I'll bring some stuff over, and like I'll do some recordings.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was doing in terms of recording. I didn't have like a game plan, and I didn't have a flow. And I recorded this like island like reggae theme that ended up being reappropriated into the new game. And I showed that to Mason. He's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Not into the new Mason game, but into the new Chuck et al. Game.
Chuck,
how much do I hate Radiohead? I don't hate Radiohead at all. I just,
one more thing. We were talking about that like whale sound effect. I think That was with the theremin, and you can do this thing with the like the volume antenna. I go like make a hand motion like this, and that gives you like this natural tremolo effect
where you're touching it.
No, I mean you could. The tremolo, the volume antenna on a theremin. Sometimes if you touch it, it'll you'll get a squeak sound. I think because it's affecting like the pitch antenna then like picks up that electromagnetic field
so you have
being changed.
You have a Band-Aid on it.
Oh yeah, so I put a I put Band-Aid tape around my volume antenna to not have a squeak sound, but you can still do stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
He was explaining to me the intricacies of this were fascinating to me. It's cool.
And I guess like whale sound, that's like one of the things. That's like one of the sounds I think about a lot with like in terms of like things that a theremin is good at doing. Like if I'm just like improvising and practicing, at some point I'll end up in a place that's like, oh, I'm doing whale sounds now. So
I'm gonna text you at 3:00 in the morning tonight when I'm done mixing and mastering again, and I'm gonna say I'm thinking about whales again, and you're gonna be like, I'm thinking about whales too, Chuck.
Yeah.
Not the country.
Yeah.
So the next theme that we have is the Dennis Mullen theme, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Dennis Mullen. Also the Wayne theme and the Samsnosa theme. You'll notice that they're those two are next to each other for a specific reason. Walking order is one thing, right? From the first game, right?
In the first game, I think you might be able to rearrange them in the first game. I don't remember now, but it's just the order you pick them up in. But the second game, for technical reasons, basically, there's a fixed walking order, which is the track order.
Yeah. And so also Wayne and Samsnosa are they're all humanoid characters, but Wayne and Samsnosa have faces. Like they have eyes and faces that can emote and make expressions. And I think Dennis Mullen, his theme is so robust because I was just thinking about when I say that I was looking at everybody's fan art and looking at how Dennis Mullen is interpreted, like whether he's like in like a cardigan having like a cup of tea, or like in even more opulent armor, and like holding this like paper cup perfectly, like it's perfectly positioned in his fingertips. I just got this sense that Dennis Mullen is like a very like he's posh, and very like cultured, but like not to the point where it's like he's insufferable, but it's like he knows his shit and he's gonna let you know that he knows his shit. So some things that are a tell here. Dennis Mullen, he's got all of these different elements of world music. He's got the Latin drums. He's got this flute. I have to do this fucking flute for these people. I promised them that I would. So this is the flute that I used. It's called trash flute or garage flute. I found it in my garage after I moved into my house, and this is all I did. That's it. And I just added a ton of reverb and delay to it. And this is the flute that I used. I have no idea whose flute this is. I didn't wash it. I just grabbed it from my garage and I like played it because I really don't give a shit. It's fine. I'm alive. Garbage flute coming in clutch. Also, the name of the song, so it's got that's like a Japanese like recorder flute or whatever. It's got the Latin drums. The name of the song is in French. La danse du gobelet en papier, which literally means the dance of the paper cup in French. Thank you, Google Translate, so much.
I don't know. Do the francophones prefer gobelet en papier or en carton?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, like, it depends. I mean,
let us know.
Yeah, let us know what.
Then we'll have to release a second album.
Let us know why I'm canceled for butchering the French language.
Yep.
So yeah. Oh, papier. There you go. Gobelet is fancier. Yeah. Okay. So Dennis Mullen is just like he's a fancy individual. Why I made it sound jungly. Couple different reasons. One, the color of Dennis Mullen's skin is like this deep kind of like overgrowth green, and I wanted to sort of like capture that with the sound of like the jungle. He's also like kind of an explorer. He's cultured, and an archaeologist. So like, where has he been? What has he seen? What has he dug up? What else do I want to say? Oh, his armor. His armor always reminded me of like Spanish conquistador armor, which is why I went with that more like kind of like Latin vibe, even though like Spanish and Latin are not the same thing. It's like there is some historically there's some crossover there. So like I wanted to honor like, you know, some traditions in certain ways. Like, oh, maybe he found this armor like on his travels or whatever. It's also pink. So I wanted it to be like this very glittery and like, you know, like I wanted there to be some glam aspect to his music. It's also we were talking about how like what Mason could play, like and I just kept thinking like we got to get bird noises in there, like weird electronic bird noises, which you can talk about how you made. What's the Dennis Mullen, all of his themes, he gets the themes of exploration. So it's basically just like a more like vamped up version of prevailing westerlies.
The airship theme.
Yeah. And that's just brand new. That's like the Dennis Mullen, like the embellishment of what I feel like Dennis Mullen is going to sound like. He's got this Spanish castle magic aspect to him. So what did you want to say about your experience with recording this one? We didn't even talk about the ribbon controller. This is the one with the ribbon controller.
I have a, you know, I guess, you know, over the past, like, you know, several, maybe 5 years or so, I was getting into like physical synthesizers. You know, that was my expensive hobby. Well, you know, it's kind of somewhere between like musical instruments and something like collecting model trains or something. You know, I have, you know,
yes, it will be released on Spotify. It'll be on all streaming platforms.
Like, you know, I don't want to be a brand ambassador for Eurorack, but I have been, you know, playing with a lot of Eurorack stuff.
And Moog too.
Relatively. For me, a lot, you know, not an insane collection. But especially like, because I like exotic kind of controllers. So for this track, I used a ribbon controller. Actually, I had gotten the ribbon controller because the theremin was out of stock, or was not available rather, this year. So I wanted something with it. The ribbon controller, it's a continuous controller, you know, so you can do any pitch.
It's like a more refined version. If you don't know what a ribbon controller is, it's a more refined version of an automaton.
Yeah. You know, probably the most famous ribbon controlling would be on the opening in the like Blade Runner soundtrack.
Vangelis.
You know, supposedly the story is that's the ribbon controller on I think a Yamaha CS80, one of the most massive and ridiculous synthesizers of all time. But this track, I don't know, it's easier for me to talk about it in a technical sense, at least at first. I was getting some, you know, it's this kind of smooth sine wavy synthesizer sound, I think. But then I think there's a part where I bring in some like more grit with like a wave folding. So it's moving from a sine wave, you know, this like very smooth wave to a sawtooth wave. You know, pointier wave, which sounds more abrasive. It's all very technical. And then getting a kind of maybe like an arpeggio sort of, or a glissando effect by like tapping the ribbon controller like this.
Yeah, like just getting like a get it. I don't know, man. Some of this stuff, like so. There are sections of Mason's playing on a couple of these where he played straight through, and we really liked one take, and then he played straight through on another take, and we took the second half of the first take or the second half of the second take and put that first, and then put the first half of the second take and put that second. You know, like we would just like we would get like one good take straight through, and then we would start like doing the splicing because he was really into that splicing aspect. And honestly, I don't know where it happens because it just very naturally fit together so well. And I mean, without realizing it, your sense of phrasing and your sense of pacing it's good. Like you have a really I mean, Mason took guitar lessons for I don't know how many years. How many years?
I was a guitar lesson, medium effort guitar student in middle school and early high school. I think probably after like junior year high school, I kind of dropped out of everything except art. Decided I was like just gonna practice for art college. So quit the team. Quit guitar.
I'll never forget what you've done.
Yeah.
You left the team. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that your pacing on this one specifically was really good. And like, again, you're often surprised by it might sound random, but the music itself, especially when you're using something as amorphous as a theremin or as a ribbon controller, where there is no like fret to keep everything separated. There's no quantization. There's no auto tuning at all. You start to get these microtonal aspects of the melody that are not available to an instrument that is separated or fretted out. Friend of Slapboy. Oh, are we missing? Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna listen to this track. It's really upbeat, and I'm so glad that all these tracks are getting different levels of love. It's very common that like the second track gets a little less love than the first track, and that the third track gets a little less love than the second track. I'm really pleased with how much love the grandpa track has received. You know that everybody calls Pongorma grandpa.
I have not heard that.
Yeah, they all refer to Pongorma as grandpa, like all of them, because he's just old as shit. And like, yeah, like is it? I don't know who came up with that, but I've just begun to call Pongorma Paul. Do you remember when I used dictation mode the other day and I accidentally called Pongorma Paul Gorman?
Oh yeah,
that's out in the universe now. Yeah, Paul Gorman.
Was that like your phone's autocorrect?
No, my dictation mode. Like I spoke it and it didn't. It doesn't know how to say Pongorma, so it says Paul Gorman.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Put that on the iceberg.
Yeah. Put it. Yeah, Pongorma is Paul Gorman. Yeah. All right. So here's Is this it? No. Here we go. This is the Dennis Milne track. La danse du gobelet en papier. No. What? No. Here we go. Mason play tune for us. typical Hilux melody, that Hilux motive. You guys switch. Here's Mason's part with the bird noises. I should have brought them out paper cups. I'm gonna get cheers, So someone just said, I think that the drums being the most wild in this piece is fitting because Dedismal is the drummer. Oddly enough, for some reason, I didn't remember that Dedismal was the drummer, mostly because Dedismal wasn't behind a kit. He's like playing like a timpani, but it's like a timpani that apparently has like every sound known to man for drums. So, you know, yeah, like that's just luck, I guess. It was like a total oversight, but yeah, I'm glad that people happy accident. I'll just chalk it up to like, hey, you know, someone was looking out for me there.
Now I don't remember if Dedismal is on the drum machine or the theremin in Hilux 1.
Yeah, well, he's multi-instrumentalist because he knows his shit. Yeah, gong, dude, Gibby gong. Strangled real birds to death for some of those other. No, he did not. No, he didn't. That's not something that he did. So sounds like some Indiana Jones-esque adventure. Yeah, and I love Indiana Jones. He's like, for a while, he was my favorite, like, quote unquote, like superhero, my favorite movie hero. That's a really great cinematic universe if you don't count the shitty one with the aliens. I loved Temple of Doom. I think that movie's great. It's like, you know,
you just got to watch the bootleg dub version of Crystal Skull. Or
like
that's
what,
good.
like where what? It's like a Malaysian.
I don't
Malaysian
remember.
dub.
It's I think a Chinese bootleg. Yeah,
awesome. I gotta watch it. Dude,
it's always
like
the Star Wars 3 bootleg. Anyway, moving on.
So we get to the final track. And this is where everybody starts losing their fucking minds. Now, I've made albums before in the past, and I as a composer and as a person who's written music for bands, you know, I understand the importance of pacing. So we started with Wayne. We have like dynamic range for all the pieces. Relatively chill, has good, you know, good dynamic range like this. Samsnosa mirrors Wayne's piece pretty well, but is more down tempo, so it's got the illusion of being more chill. The Deadest Mullen piece is like, all right, it's time to wake up because we're moving to the Pongorma piece. The Pongorma piece, I said this to Lucille the other day because she's on the development team as an artist for the other game, and she was just like laughing hysterically because she thought it just tickled her so much. I wrote the Pongorma piece as if Pongorma was entering like the wrestling ring. Like that's what was going through my head, is Pongorma is like walking out like down the ramp, like to like adoring fans who are all like holding up signs saying do lightning or whatever,
big,
like,
big,
you know,
like blue
yeah,
fur
and
coat.
he's just like just the dude is just like totally fucking jacked. Like, so if you're a huge Pongorma fan, or if you make Hylix fan art, which I know y'all do, please draw it or paint or do something where Pongorma is like fucking suplexing like a tyro or something. Like, make it real, because it's like it just has to happen. It'd be really funny. It would touch my soul. Go Grandpa, yeah. So yeah, dude, people are like losing their minds. So Pongorma is an interesting character, and probably the most intriguing one to me. Like Wayne, it's like, all right, there's a lot to unpack there, and we're always going to find new ideas to apply to Wayne. But Pongorma has had he's had a career as a fighter. He's had a career as one of these, what are they, the Dread Knights of Yethorn or whatever, like they're
like that.
Yeah, just something crazy. So he's been like you know, he's seen like the brutal nature of war, and he's, you know, dealt with some shit. And he says this line at the end of the game just before you kick Gibby's ass. Gibby literally turns to Pongorma and says, "Pongorma, you know what I'm talking about, right?" And he says, "Alas, I have become habituated to this shabby planet." And it's like, yo, why are they having a conversation? And so in my mind, I wanted to explore that a little bit. It's totally in my own headcanon. It's not in anybody else's, but take it and run with it if you want. There is some connection between Pongorma and Gibby in my mind. Doesn't have to be real. There's some there, even if it's just in that moment where they're speaking to each other. That line when Fancy Meat Computer comes back, there's a reprise of Fancy Meat Computer. It's like I felt this distinct element of marching orders. So maybe they know each other from the past. Maybe, like, you know, I thought about this. I thought that this was a really cool concept that you know, I mean, it's just like a thing that maybe maybe Pongorma and Gibby like fought alongside each other at one point. Maybe Pongorma like used to be bad, or maybe Gibby used to be good. Like, I don't really know, but
I mean, they must have sealed him in that building in Hylix 1 for some reason.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's just like there's so much untouched, and like these songs were my way of like, so a lot of people draw, they do fan art. These are like fan songs, like for me, you know, and for all of you now too, and for Mason as well. But like, you know, Pongorma, he gets that theme in the beginning, that That's actually the melody from Hylam Xylem, More Connection to Gibby, but it's played in a minor key, not in a major key. And then everybody's favorite part, the breakdown just before the chorus is Draw a Dog. Is that bum, 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 boom. But it's just Draw a Dog, like super slowed down and played like doom metal. With that, that's the battle theme from Them's Fighting Words. So there's a lot of leitmotifs happening. It's just an absolute leitmotif bomb going off. And then he gets his he gets that section for his chorus. At the time, I feel like I was listening to a lot. I've been teaching one of my students a lot of like music from Street Fighter V, specifically like Ken's theme. And I was really experimenting with like these really great, like just absolutely destroyer guitar riffs.
I'm more
like,
of a Streets of Rage.
Yeah. Well, what's
myself.
that other game that we played the other night on SNES that was like total shit? Where the Jade King. What game is that?
Oh, that was Tough Enough.
Tough Enough. Are you tough enough? Yeah, dude. What a Jalico games on Switch on the Virtual Console.
That can inspire the April Fool's album.
Yeah. We'll just make we'll make like total beat.
Forward.
Yeah, like we'll just make like if Hilux was a Jalico game.
That desperate battle against Beans and the other deadly fighters.
Beans and the rest of the fucking gang. We do, yeah. We play Donkey Kong Country the other night.
We're so old now.
Holy shit, dude!
We couldn't be, or we were blaming it on like the they say that the like the LED displays have a CRTV, latency, so
yeah. So we couldn't play it.
Yeah, so all the like 30 and 40-year-olds, we can all blame it on like the latency.
Yeah. So we played Donkey Kong Country and we got to Minecart Madness.
Oh, yeah, we could not get.
We had to go back and farm lives.
That level is cruel.
That level's fucked up. That we were like, yo, Mason at one point was like, God damn it, and I was like, holy shit, dude, this is bad. Like, because are we
getting off track here?
No, I mean, like it's fine. We're on the last song. So,
it's a metaphor for us.
We were totally triggered. We were like, we were back. We were like children again. We were like, oh my God, dude, like I can't believe that this is happening again. This level's gonna get me. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country, great. Well, there is some connection there because I do quote Jungle Japes in the Gibby theme.
Yeah, I think
on that organ, that ba-da-ba-da.
Yeah, and that like whole pre-rendered 3D 3D mesh stuff at like 4 sprite sheets.
Yeah,
that aesthetic comes through in Hilux 2.
All we are as developers now at this age that we're at. Like I'm 31 and Mason is older than 31, and like all we are at this point is products of those games. We're just products of being inspired and influenced by those games, and so it only makes sense that sort of thing will come up, and you have to do these things. You have to do these things tastefully and in a way that is a nod. It's not a direct ripoff. What is this? I thought the theme DK House, Pongo's House theme.
All of the Hilux 1 tracks, that game was made in a haze. I didn't expect it to go this far. So like all the tracks, those are just like working titles. I didn't think people would listen to those. Yeah.
Well, what's the? Oh yeah. Did we ever talk about Draw a Dog? Like what the origin of that title was? I don't know if we ever talked about it.
Have I talked to you about that?
You've definitely talked to me about that. But I don't know if I remember about it.
I think I would. I mean, as I remember, that would just be like, I need to make lists to be productive. And if I didn't have like a lot of plans for the day, I might just start improvising stuff like, okay, I'm gonna draw a dog. So that kind of
Illustrate
some kind of creative energy, but a kind of desperation. Like, okay, you gotta do something. Just like do something dumb, draw a dog, draw whatever, you know.
Yeah. And yeah, dude, that's hilarious. Holy shit. To the last track, Pongorma, it's called Bolt Thrower, and someone was like, "Oh, like the band?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, is that a band? I bet it's like a power
they were
metal
saying
band."
like they were asking if it was Warhammer.
If it was Warhammer,
the guns,
so
the Space Marines.
So Bolt Thrower, it's literally like I was gonna name the song "Does Lightning," but I thought that was a little too on the nose. So Bolt Thrower is just the name of the piece. It's not a nod to anything else other than what Pongorma is famous for, his famous gesture of the lightning. And you can hear Mason making lightning sound effects in the beginning of the piece. Initially, for some people that are in the Sloptown server, when I was talking about, we sampled this like unsheathing of a sword. Like I have a sword in my closet, and we sampled it and we listened to it. We were like so stoked. We were like, dude, this is gonna hit so hard.
Yeah, we one of us mentioned it as like an offhand idea, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's genius. We gotta do that."
Yeah.
Chuck's like, "I have a sword."
And it was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna unsheath the sword," and then we fucking did it, and it was the dumbest thing imaginable.
Playing
it was
like
so
after
stupid.
a couple hours, like listening to it,
like every 10 minutes,
thing.
15 minutes,
like,
we were just like deleted.
No.
So we put the lightning bolts in instead, and I think that was a better. Instead of "Does Lightning," you hear "Does Lightning." So the name of the song is Bolt Thrower, and you hear the lightning aspect. It's not nearly as powerful as your composite sound effect, but it's great. Also, it should be known that Mason's Mason for this track, and this was, I wouldn't necessarily say that this was the most like frustrating track. It was a happy accident, or we arrived at our point of genius.
I'd spent like a couple hours.
Yeah, we were experimenting with sounds for a long time.
We had done probably the Samsnosa track, and then it was like the second half of the recording. Chuck was in like a this mood of like we have to finish this now. This is the time. But it was getting late. I had been like working on some like synthesizer patch, which was getting out of hand, and like half the time wasn't getting any sound. And then like I got it all patched together where I wanted it to, but it was in a kind of like heavily distorted like sound. Going through like the fuzz factory and probably some delays and stuff, which on its own sounded cool, but against the already distorted track, it just like completely disappeared. These like two distorted sounds.
So what we ended up doing is I was like Mason was like, "Oh, well, like we'll just come back and do it another day." And I looked at him and I was like, You're not gonna leave here without giving me something to work with," like jokingly, but also like, yeah, like you should really like try and lay something down, if not for the sake of just getting an idea down. And I was like, "Here, take this," and I handed him my Strat, and he sat and played. Like I showed him the scale that it was in, and he sat and just played, like noodled around. He played for maybe like 20 minutes.
Yeah, kept it pretty simple.
I got 2 takes that I really liked. Or we got 2 takes that we both really liked, rather. And so the best take that we liked is playing forward and is a little bit louder. The second take, right behind that take, is being played in reverse under that take and is slightly softer. And so it's creating this trippy kind of like double helix guitar sound effect in the second verse. For Mason's part. So anyway, that's just how we achieved that sound. There are pedals that you can get that do that exact thing, but we did it in what is referred to as we achieved the effect practically, where we have it played forward and we have it played backwards. So this is Bolt Thrower, Pongorma's theme. Draw dog. Oh, I forgot to mention the other thing. He gets the finale. I'll mention it. Yeah. That very dude that just jumped out of you. Awesome. Yeah, the finale theme, if anyone can hear me, because it's the finale of the album, and it's also the finale of it's like finale theme. What's that comment? Which one? Finale of the world? Apple of Doom? Maybe. Maybe not. Classified. I forgot to mention two leitmotifs. One, he gets that finale theme, that boom, 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 boom. That's happening in his chorus. And then at the end there, you hear that final guitar melody. That's just Wayne's melody from before, continuing the cycle. Wayne employing the help of Pongorma once again to defeat whatever ne'er-do-wells are afoot in the world of Hylix and Hylix 2. So the cycle. So those are the pieces. I think what's unique about the whole thing is that, and I was joking around with Mason, but I just refer to it as DLC that you can hear. He was like, I'm not gonna fucking write that. But I mean, like, it's like really like people seem to really enjoy this sort of thing. So in the future we will we'll be more intuitive to that because we're like this was a surprise, like that it was so well received. I thought we were just gonna put it out and like people like, oh, okay, cool, but like people are really taken with this music, and it's gonna get advertised to more and more people's recommended bars if more people listen to it and interact with it. I'm hoping that each thing that is put out for Hylix grows the community in one way or another. So some people, they don't even play the games, they just like the music. Some people have expressed that they don't like the music as standalone, but that they like the music as it is applied to the game, and that it has embellished the experience of the game. Whatever the case may be, the fact that we put this music out and it has brought more people into the Hylix fandom and rejuvenated the love for the second game and its characters and its plot points for people that have been fans of Hylix for so long. We're really happy that was the outcome, and we appreciate everybody that has reached out and expressed their joy over having this new music. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? It's like kind of early, but like we can go for like another little bit, and then we'll cancel the stream.
I don't know.
We could answer some questions.
I don't want to get like too far into
it doesn't need to, we don't need to.
We'll do
like
some
crazy.
Haphazard Q&A.
Yeah, if it gets weird, we'll be like, all right, that's enough.
I mean, the next project, it's it's in far off in the future. Still not the development time. I hope won't take nearly as long as Hylix 2. But more than a year, so don't start up the hype train.
I mean, there's
we need
when can we see the Wayne tattoo? Oh, so okay. I promised myself that I would get a Wayne tattoo or a Hylix tattoo to commemorate the experience. And it's not just like oh yeah, I'm just gonna get something that I wanted. Like, this is handpicked by Mason himself. He was like, I'm gonna send you the image that I like, a couple images that I think are great. One of the images was the gang in their walking cycle, and I thought that's really cool. Maybe I'll put that here, but because my arm isn't just one, it's like there's a taper. I was like, no, there's gonna be a problem, with that. And so I decided I'm going to get this other image as long as it's okay with Mason. He sent me this other image. It's a picture of Wayne being affected with caffeine. It's the caffeination status effect. You can see that there's like little like little steam lines and stuff. It turned out really well. It's in the final stages of the healing process. I've been treating it with some A&D ointment. Yeah, and caffeinated is funny because it's just like that's what we are. Like, we're working and it's like, oh god, I need a fucking cup of coffee again. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I think I've been on like 2 cups of coffee a day for the past decade.
I can only do 1 cup now because I blew myself out entirely with my 2 tours in Starbucks. Like, I'd be up to like 6 cups of coffee a day if I would be fiending hard. So 1 cup of coffee is what I'm good with right now.
Sometimes you got to detox.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good for you.
Help you with your rhyme flow and your beatbox.
And I should say that the tattoo was done by Carrie O'Neill at Bulldog Tattoo in Butler, New Jersey. If you're in the area, like if you're from New Jersey or you want to make a drive out, book some time with Carrie. Absolute monster artist. And he does this shit by the book. Like, he is a fantastic individual to get tattooed by because he knows his stuff. He'll give you a history lesson about the art of tattooing, and what's more, he spins records that are like it's an indescribable experience. I always say it's kind of like getting tattooed by your dad when you go to see Carrie. I've gotten more than 10 pieces done by him. He's a fantastic individual, and I'll continue to get tattoos by him. Would you consider making fan songs for Gibby? Yeah. So the Fancy Meat Computer is Gibby's theme. Like that's his theme. Dracula, I don't know enough about him.
I mean, the name, that's just, that's a placeholder name.
That you forgot.
I didn't expect people to like dig into the like file names and like derive like lore from that. So Dracula, he's definitely due for a retcon on his name. Actually, I had like I think before the development of Hylix, I had like a really vivid like dream with like some weird like surreal character who was like everyone was like, oh yeah, that's Dracula. So but it's a really common character, like everybody's
you ever change his
Dracula's all over the place. And then
better change name
pretty late in the development of Hylix, I played like Space Funeral by the Catamites. And that has a pretty big part for a Dracula got a castle in there. So I was like, I can't, people are going to be too after me. Like,
Dan Aykroyd's in the chat.
2-minute Dracula.
Is there anywhere I can get high-res images to get a tattoo like Chuck's? I want the portraits of the whole party tattooed on me. You could probably find them, right? Well, okay. So here's what I'm gonna say to Dan Aykroyd.
What's he asking?
He's asking for high-res images.
Some of the stuff there is no high-res image.
It's the
like
image
some of
that we
the
received
portraits
is not.
in like Hylix 2, some of the Wayne portraits have a higher res like painted version, but like the Samsnosa portrait, I was like tweaking the pixel art. It's a pretty low resolution.
It really was done in a way that
we'll see some
not low res.
Higher res stuff in the future. I'm going a little higher res. In theory, the technical plans and stuff.
What about Fleem, Instar, and Decris? I know the characters are unused, but many people in the fan base love to look into them. We've had this conversation. Like I know we've had this conversation before about Instar and about Fleem. This is a scenario where like and you mentioned this in the first stream before. Like Wayne was never really depicted with like the leather jacket jumpsuit hybrid until like the fans started like
in the Hylix one, because it's so low res, you can imagine a lot. What is that?
And so like if the fans, it's like the will of the fans, like
although I mean it's I think that's a reasonable assumption for what he's wearing in the first game. It's like this dark clothing with the white highlights, like a shiny
we're
shiny
looking
costume.
into doing like honoring specific things for the fans, because it's in the best interest of the developers to do that.
I'm kind of trying to make things more coherent in a future project. Like right now the lore is fairly all over the place, so I'm trying to take take pieces that I can fit together without it being like super like what's the word, like too coherent. So both more coherent and while keeping that improvisational some of that random.
Were you inspired by the Neverhood?
Actually, I did like, I mean, not getting too into the Mr. Tenapel's current persona. I did play a lot of like Earthworm Jim as a kid. The Neverhood has this like really that game. it's cool, but it sometimes it doesn't respect your time. There's a part where you like walk past this really long like wall of lore, but then it just keeps going, you know, and you're like 10 screens in, and you're like, I'll just keep walking past this giant wall, and it just keeps going and keeps going. Or a part where it's like a path you're walking on. There's a needless spiral in there. I'm getting off topic, but
Yeah,
the Neverhood, I you know, mixed feelings. Earthworm Jim, classic game. And no comment on Mr. Tenenbaum's current antics.
The wall of lore is terrifyingly long. The hallway. I remember. In terms of approach for composition moving forward, obviously, you know, my next thing, and I had this conversation with Mason one night or 2 nights ago. I can't even remember now, about what the gimmick pedal is going to be, because that seems to be a thing already now. Like in Hilux 2, I used the MXR Phase 90 fully clocked, full rotary. So it was that like kind of had that. I can't believe I just made that noise just now. Like, holy shit. Yeah. So yeah, like the Phase 90 was like the star of the show. And in this next game, the star of the show is this pedal called the EHX Mainframe, which is just a really classy bit crusher. It's a great pedal. It sounds really cool. It's like a mix of fuzz and 8-bit, and it's glorious. That's the gimmick pedal for the game, and I bought it specifically for the game.
They're asking, will I ever add anything to my Tumblr page? Tumblr like changed the formatting. Like they don't.
You only ever
do,
have for GIFs, right?
They don't do GIF files. They broke a lot of my GIF files, so I don't know. I got to make my own website or something. It probably works on like Chrome, but
what about if you just?
I'm out here using Safari, and it like converts the GIFs to some video format, and it doesn't always work.
Does Twitter work?
Glitches them out. Twitter does the same thing, but not as badly. Sorry, Tumblr.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Tumblr being huge.
Yeah.
It still is. It's got,
Yeah.
I also remember like my college roommate being like, yeah, I have a deviant art. Like I'm going to show you.
But I'm
art.
tempted to I'm tempted to post some stuff on Tumblr randomly. It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. So yeah, I mean, like there's we could get into a ton of stuff. If anyone has any questions ever, you can reach out to me. Mason enjoys the efficiency of leading a relatively private existence, which is why I'm answering questions more. I don't mind it, but Mason's also got a lot of his work. His workflow is different, and it requires more from him.
My work, I might be working on something really boring for a few weeks. Like some coding, like character controller or something. And so I'm not gonna pontificate at length. Well, especially because I'm not a coding guru. So if I was like teaching you my coding stuff, you'd be picking up some bad techniques.
Have you heard?
I'm getting better though.
Have you heard of the 2008 anime Kaiba?
I love Kaiba. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, all that guy's stuff. Masaaki Yuasa. Yeah, good animator.
Random question. What happened with Dedison H2 ending? He turned into his head unrolled, he turned into an exec and sprayed a bunch of, spores everywhere. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, the jury's still out on whether that was a fatal occurrence,
or a fever dream or something. Yeah. Someone's asking, is Samsnosa a human? I think they're all aliens, right?
Well, I mean, she's the most human of them. Maybe she's like not speaking, canon, but like how all the aliens in Star Trek are humans, you know, kind of,
Yeah.
Kind of human. Probably, you know, I'm not quite on board with the bug woman or crab Samsnosa thing, but I think I could work that in there as like, you know, an evil doppelganger maybe, or you know, somewhat evil.
Yeah.
Evil themed.
Air of super professional polish compared to the first one. How do you pull that off?
Switching
to Unity.
Yeah. I guess with coding, using like amateur programs, like I mean, you know, you can do professional stuff with RPG Maker, but it's, you know, it's more of an amateur program. You can learn like the logic and some of the you can kind of learn what you would want to do with coding, and then once you know all that, like what you need your code to do, and you have like a goal in mind, then coding is easier. You can look up, there's a ton of tutorials as well for Unity, so I don't have any tutorials to recommend because it always gets, you know, it'll be getting updated and stuff, but
Mac is asking what you think of Gibby, like as a villain or as an individual.
I think, I mean, Gibby, yeah, I think, you know, he's done clearly some bad stuff. I don't think he can be like rehabilitated, you know, into like a good guy, you know, but you know, maybe through some extraordinary supernatural means, there could be a you know, some redeemed
Gibby reformation.
But, you know,
yeah,
he needs a lot of work. And I think we may learn more of the past Gibby. What, you know, why is Wayne so upset with him? You know, and then why you know, why is that guy in the town, you know, in New Moldul in Hylix 2, like, you know, always was like anarchists. They killed Gibby, you know, and ruined everything.
Who is Heat Me Oh Sun guy? I have to know. I need to fucking know. Yeah.
I think that's, you know, that's just one of those like, you know, you got to have some like weird, you know, red herring town dialogue in an RPG.
Yeah.
Like
Thank you, Mac. We appreciate it.
I guess I'd meant, you know, there's some lines in like Chrono Trigger. One of them kind of made it into the first game. Actually, there, you know, I did probably a couple of weeks sweeping the game, like cutting out any video game references and memes. But you know, probably one made it in.
Witness.
There's that part in Chrono Trigger where you're on the mountain and like this random like ape NPC just tells you that mountains are nice and this is the life. That, you know, that you don't get anything like any reward from it.
What was going on with the city in early Hylix 2? I don't know.
What was there was I think some plan for passing into like an underground city. That would be kind of a some, you know, people, there's this kind of obliquely referred to, you know, catastrophe, that like the accretion. So this would be like some, you know, pre-catastrophe ruined city. You know, didn't quite make it in there. You know, after doing all the buildings and stuff, it just didn't look good in action. Like playing the game, that area didn't feel good. So we didn't make it, sadly.
There's all sorts of questions coming in. So
yeah,
what we can do?
We could go back through them.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could. We could. Well, we could pick some really good questions and like.
I think, you know, but that's like part of my job now is taking a lot of the like the many loose ends, taking the coolest loose ends, and those which are gonna like resonate together. And, making that into something.
What were
cool.
some things featured in the very first Hylix 2 teaser trailer you wish made it into the game?
I'm thinking now. I don't remember what was in that.
Cut piece of content,
trailer.
Hylix. Car crash scene is such a fun tidbit.
What is in the first trailer that didn't make it?
Blair all facts. Fun Blair all facts. Odozier and Despair Puffs, coincidence, connection. Just wanted to say I love Hylix and you really pulled me.
I think we'll definitely be seeing more of Odozier.
We appreciate your hard days. Thank you.
Plans, you know.
Yeah, it's you know, like someone asked before, did you ever expect it to get like big?
I mean, I had hopes for the second game. The first game, I was like, you know, after college, like I had spent some years doing like abstract painting with no plan, like for gallery stuff, just doing art stuff. Not very much money. So it's kind of Hylix 1. It was a little bit of a desperate project. I mean, I'm not like extremely. I've enjoyed some. What do we say? Privilege, that I can work on this and not be like, kicked out on the street, which is, big opportunity. But there were deep doubts during Hylix 1. The project's like pretty improvised. Hylix 2, I had more intention there, but it was really the production really dragged on for a long time, much longer than I thought. Like I had joked, like, I'll probably be 30 when I'm working on this game, and it's a surprise. Released it. Where were we? I'm getting maudlin.
I think.
Someone's asking about financial support. The sales of Hylix 2 were pretty surprisingly healthy. I still have to make another game. I'm not a millionaire.
I think the goal is that you're springboarding.
Yeah, but I'm definitely no longer in like a fringe
like a
existence,
like a tax bracket.
Tax bracket.
I mean, like the most important thing when you're talking about finances with the game that I can say without getting too deep into it is, in our scenario specifically, you take the funds that you make from the previous game and you springboard. You literally use those funds to make the next thing, and you just grow. Like that's the only way to do it is to compound.
This guy's asking, do you want to work on another Hylix game? I mean, it's there are moments when it's a job, but relatively speaking, it's a pretty fun job. I do hope to do some non-Hylix projects someday. I do typically try to make a Ludum Dare game. There's another that's like a game jam competition. Like you make a game in 72 hours or 48 hours. But it's a lot harder to do those tiny projects in Unity, which is why you haven't seen any small projects from me lately. And my standards have risen, so it's like not that exciting for me to make like a kind of bad like platforming game like back in the early days. Anyway,
aside from like discussing like future scenarios, Mason and I have also had discussions about making completely different games together. Where we have had this ongoing discussion about a cool like Metroidvania game, which like that's if we made a Metroidvania, that would be so much fun to do. I'm really a huge fan of point and clicks. I think that point and click games can be super fun, especially if it's done the right way. I specifically remember this one. I mean, obviously everybody's played Myst, and Myst is like the godfather of point and click games at that era of point and click. But I played this one game called The Dream Machine, which is similar. It's like made out of like clay and paper mache and stuff. All the graphics are done with stop motion, and it's a really, really good game. If you haven't played The Dream Machine, you should play it. There's 5 parts. It's really great. Like just like I don't know, puzzle games and stuff. Like I think I think making a different game would be a good, making a different type of game would be a good direction. And I think that it's not necessarily to say like, oh yeah, like that's what's going to happen, but like in the future, it is like shake the 8 ball and it'll probably read it is likely that there will be something different coming out from.
I think
from
small game for like shorter games. I need to find one of those like greatly limited game development tools like Twine or something. You know, people are using that like kind of really limited program Bitsy, but I can't bring myself to get quite that limited. But there's some cool stuff there. You know, I think for a long time I was using Stencil, which is a Flash program. But you know, with the death of Flash, they converted to like HTML, but I couldn't convert my old stuff. So
someone's asking about whether we're going to get ports.
Ports of Hylix 1 and 2 aren't looking likely. With Hylix 1, it's in an older version of RPG Maker. So I think like a lot of the ports you see of RPG Maker games on consoles are in like the later version, like RPG Maker MV. Also, the game Hylix 1, the graphics are kind of unusually composed for an RPG Maker game. It would be easier if it was like tile graphics. Then there would be like tools to do it somewhat automatically, I imagine. It could work in some kind of like emulator, like if it was just in a DOS box kind of situation. I don't know if they do that on consoles. As for Hylix 2, the problem was the sprite sheets in the game are. I think this is the problem. The memory usage is high. Like I think the Nintendo Switch has like 4 gigabytes of memory. And Hylix 2, like in a normal scene, is using like 3.5 gigabytes. So I'd expect it to spike above the console's like hardware memory, at which point I think the game would just crash. And the memory is high because of the massive sprite sheets, and because they're not. This is getting into some like computer science stuff that I don't understand. But they're not sized in powers of 2, like, you know, 32, 64, 128, 256, you know, those magical programmer numbers, which makes them very inefficient. I had sized them for a kind of crunch image compression, which kept the file sizes small, but it turns out that doesn't actually matter to the game engine. It wants those powers of 2. So if you're a game developer, make sure you do those powers of 2, even if it makes your sprite sheets a lot larger in file size. It'll be more efficient. It's imaginable that it could come out on the 9th gen consoles. If those ever come in stock. When I get one in 2024. Also, it's possible that I'll have more partners in the future. We'll see. If I had a publisher partner, they would have more knowledge about porting.
Like what is likely, and they'd have a team of people dedicated to making it happen. It's hard because you have to remember that Mason is one person, and I am also one person. Like there's no team underneath either of us. In fact, Mason, when he onboarded me, I was like, okay, so do you have somebody like doing PR? He was like, me. I'm like, oh, I'll do that. What do you want to do? Oh, I'll do the games. It's like we're literally like we're it's all to increase the depth and the value at the moment of this universe that is Hylix.
I'm seeing them asking about. People have been asking about Pongorma's fur. I think there's like a connection there with the lightning. There's definitely some kind of static electricity.
He's like it's like a fursuit.
Yeah, it somehow enhances that power. I wouldn't necessarily use the word fursuit.
Okay,
not to
demean anybody. But it's a static electricity producing suit.
I guess the philosophers say that we're all furries now. But so no, we're cool with that relatively, in a qualified way. But not quite a fursuit. A suit made of fur.
And the helmet's cool. It's like a fish.
Commander Rainbow Ducky says, no, he's not on board with the the philosophers there. Definitely a polarizing topic. Very serious topic.
We talked about Samsnosa
moving on
in RPG Maker, but it's currently lost to time. When will you make the game available again? Thank you, to Arcadia. I can't even read your name. It's like 4900.
I think his head was meant as a helmet, even in the first game. Yeah. We still don't know.
It's kind of got like his head like has like this crabby look to it, but people like draw his head like that's like but fits his head in the helmet. My wonderful mouth noises. I don't know what that is. Well, now I can't. What did I do?
Oh no, we're never mind.
What did I do?
Moving on.
So body fur and how we don't.
Yep.
We don't know.
We don't yet know. Someday we may know. Anyway, I'm
we're
drifting.
We're like that.
Yeah.
Like that sound.
Yeah, we'll archive this. We'll cut off this
DSL
last half hour. Where we're
just,
drifting away.
No, we didn't. It's fine. It's all good.
Breaking up.
People enjoy it. People enjoy the candid.
It's almost midnight here, so
it's 11:45. So we've been streaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes. If anyone has any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I'd be more than happy to relay those questions to Mason, and then we can answer them. If anyone has any music questions or like project questions or whatever, same thing. We're both working really hard to make the next thing happen. Mason said like in a timely manner. So we're gonna find out what a timely manner is once we figure out what the scope of the next project is gonna be. And that's our goal moving forward. Is like, okay, we're in the abstract phase, and we're part of that is trying to figure out the scope, like the length of your game and what you want your game to what story wants to unfold.
Yep.
So we're there right now. And we hope you all have a good night and stay safe. And keep enjoying the music. The music will hit all streaming services in a week.
We'll see. It's actually in the final stage
it's
now.
in the final
it's
review,
past
yeah.
the review.
Yeah, it could drop any day. Basically, that means.
Yeah.
So, it'll come. And once it does, feel
it'll
free
be
to stream it at your leisure. Put it on all your playlists. Have fun with it. It's only 4 songs and it's only 20 minutes long, but we really appreciate the joy and the outpouring of positive energy that people have been sharing with us, and we hope to bring you more quality consumable experies and content soon.
More consumable experiences.
Yeah, more.
That's what we're about here.
Dude, should we make that like your company logo, like Mason Lindroth? More consumable experiences now.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So yeah, we hope you all have a good night. This is the end of the stream. Everybody take care. Be good. And
thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll talk to you all soon.
And good night.
Have a good night.
I'm pushing the button.
You push that red button, dog. There it is.